Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5. I don't really talk about The Mandalorian much. I love the show. It's actually what got me into Star Wars. I just haven't had time to ever really talk about it. But this episode is one of my favorite because it introduces in live action Ahsoka. And she is best known for like the animated series and stuff like that. When it comes to Star Wars, originally I did see the first 6 movies and then the other movies that came after many years later, but I've never seen any of like the animated series and stuff like that. So I was very confused as to who she was because I assumed Luke was the only Jedi left and everything. But apparently, Dave Filoni, who wrote and directed this episode, has expanded the universe in ways that people couldn't even imagine. And she is a very beloved character who has ties to that of Darth Vader and stuff. And I believe he trained her back in the day. I believe from I read some stuff about her many years ago after this episode came out, but I don't remember everything I read. I do believe he trained her and stuff. Now I did see the fight between those two on YouTube, and it was pretty cool. My only problem with that animated series is the way the lightsabers look. They tend to curve and bend. I don't like that and stuff. And so it just looked kind of weird. Just looked like, well, I mean, I get the idea of light and everything. You know, that's basically what it is, like some type of like laser type projection type thing. But it's like, I don't know, it just look weird when it like moves around and curves and stuff. But like, I remember when she was coming to live action, a lot of people suggested that Rosanna Dawson should play her, and luckily enough, she did. And this episode was so beloved and everything that it gave her her own spin-off series that's supposed to be coming out, I believe, this year, if not next year and stuff. And with many lightsabers being that a different color for the different type of Jedi and stuff like that, or better yet, people who wield that of the Force, she is the only person who has a white lightsaber. In fact, she has two, but they're not twins. They have different hilts. One's longer than the other one, and I believe she got one from one of her opponents and stuff. Apparently, from what I remember reading, she turned the energy of it from one color to another, and it turned white. And so this episode, because the thing about The Mandalorian is a very much spaghetti western type series that people love, but with this episode is very Asian inspired. And so like those old Asian movies, you know, it's like the lone warrior, you know, walking in to deliver justice and everything. And we don't know why exactly what's going on, but we see that, like, you know, there are guards looking for someone, and then like it's a desolate area. There's just trees and stuff. It's kind of foggy with this muted type of color, and then all of a sudden white lightsabers start appearing and start slicing and dicing the soldiers up in a most beautiful choreographed kind of way. And even like when she hides behind like the trees and she slices both in half, it just looks so awesome and stuff. And I still can't believe this entire show is like filmed in entirety in a room. They're never outside. And apparently they use some type of new technology called like, I think a volume or something like that. It's something they've been using in a lot of movies. However, it looks so realistic here, but in movies like Love and Thunder, the Thor movie, it does not. And so she's just taking out dudes left and right. And apparently she wants to get inside this town for some bizarre reason, but the woman who runs that town will not let her. Parts of this script is a little flimsy, I have to say, especially when it gets towards the end, to the point where it's just kind of bleak and a little flat in everything. And so, you know, it cuts from that and it goes to that of the Mandalorian. And of course, he's like flying through space and he's supposed to find a Jedi who's supposed to train. Well, at this point in time, we just call him the kid or baby Yoda and stuff. It's actually, we find out his name is Grogu in this episode when he talks to like Ahsoka and stuff. I still don't like that name. It sounds like yogurt. I prefer Baby Yoda. But Grogu is and stuff. And of course, he's being his hard-headed little self, not wanting to sit back in his seat and put his seatbelt on. He just wants to play with that little lever thing, which he takes the ball part of it off. And so as the Mandalorian and him are going through town, they go through the gates of like, like the little kingdom area of the town, and they realize something. There are people being tortured. There are people who are kind of like strung up, and it's kind of like how the Romans used to crucify people back in the day. And so he doesn't even bother to ask, hey, what's going on, or anything like that. But he is, in fact, looking for someone. And so he's trying to talk to the people in the town, and they will not talk to him. They just run in fear. But what are they exactly scared of? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, of course, it's probably like, the people who run it. But why? Why is that such a controlled area? And so, like, he tries to talk to this one, like, family, an older man and some kids, and they just won't talk to him. And the older man's kind of like, don't talk to none of us. And then the guards come. And so, for whatever reason, these people live in fear, probably tyranny and stuff. And so, when he talks to the lady in charge, she wants him to do her a huge favor. She wants him to kill Ahsoka and everything. And so, like, he literally tells her, look, man, my price is high and everything. Man, she tries to, like, goat him, but, like, the Jedi are the ancient enemy of the Mandalorian and blah, blah, blah. And he just lets her know, yo, man, my price is high. Gotta get that money. But so she offers him a weapon, a spear that's made out of pure, Bestium, I think it's called. I forget what it's called. I forgot what it's called. I forget. But it's made out of the same armor that his Mandalorian armor comes from. And I love the sound it makes when it clicks off, like, the metal clicks on the armor and stuff. So he goes into the woods and he's looking for her, only to get ambushed by her. And it's a very brief fight, but it's a cool brief fight with her using her lightsabers to, like, attack him, and his armor is strong enough to, like, deflect the powers of the light, the laser parts of the lightsaber, which is very interesting because those things cut through anything. And we saw in the prequel movies, there is a device, like a staff with electrical energy. It's the only weapon George Lucas said that can deflect it. But now all of a sudden, the Mandalorian armor can. And so, like, it's cool when he shoots out his little flamethrower and stuff. And very quickly, they stop fighting once he tells her, hey, look, man, somebody sent me to find you, and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, they get she gets to meet Grogu and everything, talking with him telepathy wise and everything. She realizes that he cannot be trained. He lets his emotions get to him too much. He fears, he has anger, and she does not want him to go through the path of Anakin Skywalker and stuff. She doesn't say it by name, but, like, we all know who exactly she's talking about. So she refuses. And he, he's trying to get her to, like, change her mind, but she does not want to. But, like, they do come up to an agreement that she will train him if he helps her out with a situation, that woman who runs the town. So they work together and everything. She comes up to the gate. She starts whooping on some people. He sneaks on in, and he basically does his Mando thing, which is kind of cool and everything. Or he's just, like, walking around, deflecting, like, laser fire, shooting people, stuff like that. This dude is just so cool. It's kind of like, I can't believe he's never been in the movies, and Pedro Pascal plays him, but I should better say voices him. And so she fights the lady in a very, very old, like, samurai ninja-esque kind of style. And it's pretty cool, but you can tell that it's mostly just the stunt people, except for the close-ups and everything. And so she besses the lady, and tells her pretty much take me to your master. I'm not like, who the heck is she talking about and everything? And so it's never revealed who the master is, but the lady basically gives up. Where exactly is this lady? Who knows? Did Ahsoka kill her? Did she string her up? Like, what is it? Well, we do know that the Mandalorian did in fact kill her right hand man. And so then we see that old man again. He's putting on a robe. So apparently this used to be his town, but got overthrown. And this is why I said it ends kind of bleak. Because it's kind of like, oh, that's a weird twist that I did not see coming. And it's not really explained that much. And I wish they would have gave more emphasis on that man and how this used to be his kingdom. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, she still tells him straight up she ain't like, teaching Grogu, even though she did try to teach him how to use the force to move things, but he didn't want to move the rock, but instead he moved the little device on the ship from the Mandalorian and everything, because she realizes that he has attached himself to that of the Mandalorian, and he sees him as a father figure, and the Mandalorian sees him as like a son, and because of that, she is going to be unable to train him because he has to devolve himself of like emotion and attachment. But, when he gets a little pissy at her and everything, because they had an agreement, she sends him to like a planet where hopefully this other Jedi will sense them and train him. Of course, we all know that's Luke Skywalker. And so then those two part ways. I love how in this episode it has that old school Asian type movie feel to it, of like the lone warrior going into town and has to do business. I also like the character of Ahsoka. She's very calm, very still. Like she keeps her emotions in check from what I saw in those clips on YouTube and everything from the animated series. And like, she has really grown since, if that's really canon and stuff. Also, Rosanna Dawson does a great job. She's this very stoic, still like person who is extremely tough and powerful. I hope to God they don't mess up her spin-off series like they did Boba Fett, or the book of Boba Fett, I should say. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.